Hello, my sweet creature. It's me, your Creatrix Chalice, and we're talking about devotion today. I know we talk about devotion quite often. It's just like one of the big topics when you're talking about FemDom or FLR. You should know, if your devotion costs you nothing, it is worth exactly that. If your devotion costs you nothing, you're going to have a very hard time finding anybody who's going to value what you give because you're not giving very much. Okay? If you want something deep, but you're not willing to make a sacrifice for it, you're not willing to work for it, you're not going to get it. In this scene, but also just in life, you have to be willing to give something meaningful to get something meaningful in return. You want your devotion to mean something. You want your submission to be something sacred, and you can't do that if you're not offering something real. So let's break it down. Real devotion requires real offering. So words are wonderful. You can gift your words, but unless there's something substantial to back it up, all words do is clutter the space of the one you're trying to woo. Okay? The one you're trying to serve. Clutter doesn't serve. Noise doesn't serve. Music serves. That's noise with purpose and meaning, order. Words just thrown into the space are like on the piano. It doesn't make sense. It's just, nope. Turn it down, get it out of here, right? You want to offer something real, something beautiful, something meaningful. Words alone are not going to cut it. You need to be able to give something. Your devotion is measured by what you give, not by what you say, not by what you wish you could give. And giving doesn't always mean money. I know, it's such a trigger. The money piece is a big piece. It is very easy to see that a sub is willing to give when he can put some money on the table, right? But there are many other ways that you can give, and you can give of yourself through acts of service. If you're able to serve in person and she will have you, go run her errands, give her a massage, clean her house. I will say though, usually you're going to need to be vetted before you get to that point. So there's going to be a giving of yourself to even get to that point where you are welcomed in her physical space. Okay? You can give and offer services, even virtually too. I recently had somebody start a fan account in a respectful way that I actually really appreciated and enjoyed. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I like that. Thank you. Right? I have subs who take on virtual tasks for me. Help me to do some very mundane, time-consuming things that I don't want to do, I don't have to do, because I have subs offering themselves in that way, giving of themselves in that way. I have subs in the Discord who are showing up to give themselves to each other, to support each other, supporting the men that I am supporting, which is giving to me, which is giving to them, which is giving to our community, because they are giving themselves. Got it? Giving does not just mean money, although that can be a part of it. And for some, that is a necessary part. And if that is a part of their prerequisites, a part of their vetting process, so be it. Okay? You can respect that. Triggered or not, you can respect that. So again, real devotion requires a real offering. You have to be willing to put something on the table, not just talk about the table. The altar of devotion is going to stay cold unless there's actually a fire in the space. Okay? Saying the word fire does not heat the space. Lighting the fire, placing the fire, presenting the fire, tending the fire, that will warm the space. Easy devotion. Easy devotion is shallow devotion, and it stays shallow devotion. There are ways that somebody can give themselves and let it be shallow. Let it be a shallow devotion, shallow act of service. And that can be okay. But that's going to stay on the perimeter of the Dom space. It's never going to actually penetrate deeply into her life, into her heart, into her soul, because it was so easy that your devotion will reflect that. Your level of devotion reflects how much you're willing to do. If it's easy, you're this devoted. Good for you. If you're willing to make a sacrifice, if you're willing to go deep, if you're willing to do something difficult because you want to serve, that shows the depth of your devotion. It doesn't mean you have to suffer to be devoted, although maybe sometimes you might. And maybe you like that. Maybe she likes that. That can be fine. But if it's too easy, it doesn't really count, at least not in my book. If it's too easy, it was for you, not for me. You want something to be easy so that you can enjoy it. What a Dom might want of you may not actually be what's easiest for you. And if you can't do that because you want the easy thing, it just clarifies again, that was for you. Your devotion is shallow. It has no roots. If I blow, your tree will topple over. That was not a rooted tree. Why was it in my space to begin with? I don't like shallow devotion on a whole, although I do have some space for it. Limited space in the peripherals, right? And even just for you, when your devotion is shallow, when you're going for what is easy, that devotional energy that could be transforming your life is so minimal that it's not going to have an effect. It's not going to evoke real change. It's not going to call forward this subspace that you likely crave. Because, I mean, let's be real. That is like a big carrot on the stick for many. You will not be able to experience that if you're going for like the quick, shallow little hits. It's not real devotion. You're not going to enjoy it. At least not as much as you could if it had roots. If you want something meaningful, if you want to see FLR transform your life, if you want to see the Dom in your world be a transformational piece of your puzzle, you have to be willing to do the hard work. You have to be willing to dig deep. Okay? No, it's for both of us, right? But you have to keep this in mind. I, for example, and I know not all Doms are the same, I really feel my battery charge, my heart fill, my energy just up and overflowing when I see my subs going in and like really tapping the center of what is their devotional energy, because they were able to work in through these layers and then hit the core of that. And when you hit the core of that, it's like a wellspring. Now you have even more energy to work with. So they have more for themselves and their own lives and the way that they're leading themselves, the way that they're caring for themselves, but also for me. They have more energy for me. They understand me more. When I go to a deep place and I might want some support or some presence with me, I can actually call on them because I know that they have the depth to meet me while I'm in my depths, right? I will never go for a shallow sub when I am someplace deep and rich and meaningful in my life experience. Because their devotion, again, it's not there. I've learned that lesson. I won't do it again. So, easy devotion stays shallow, and so will your relationship with your Dom, so long as you're going for something easy. Now, when it comes to realizing devotion, you have to understand that without a cost, you remain in fantasy. The cost is what anchors this devotion. Otherwise, you're just staying in your mind, you're staying in fantasy la la land, where your devotion has no roots. So I'm going to keep talking about the roots. If you don't have roots, it topples over. It can stand no test. Your devotion is essentially worthless, except for in your own mind. But it's not a real devotion. It's not a real submissive energy. It's not a real relationship with a Dom if you can't anchor your devotion. Okay? And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The cost can be many different things. The cost can be financial. This reflection of something tangible that says, I'm invested. I mean it. I'm giving myself. But the cost can be the inconvenience on your behalf when your Dom needs you and you have to drop something leisurely or fun or get out of bed to go and serve her. The cost can be almost anything, but it's not a cost if you're loving it. Okay? When you go to take your car to the mechanic, I doubt when you go to pay the bill, you're like, oh yes, I love this, right? You love knowing that your car is taken care of. You love knowing that you're safe, that you're held, that you're going to get from point A to point B. You might not love the work and money that goes into getting the car into that state, but you know that that's something that needs to be done. Now, in relationship with your Dom, you need to be taking care of her. Your relationship, much like your car is a ship, your relationship doesn't run if you don't maintain it. There's a cost that goes into that. You can pay a mechanic. Well, you can go to work, generate the funds, and pay a mechanic. Or you can go to school, and you can learn all the ins and outs, and you can be the mechanic. Either way, there's time, there's energy, there's attention that goes into the relationship. There is a cost. And it's not always enjoyable. That goes back to the easy thing. Yeah? Your fantasy asks for nothing. But reality, with a Dom, she's going to ask for your everything. There is a cost. Otherwise, it just remains fantasy. And to tag onto that point, the cost right there, that is what creates the transformation. It creates room for transformation. You are signaling to yourself, to your life, that you are ready for something bigger, that it actually matters to you, and that you are taking steps in that direction. Life will start to unfold. You will see changes. You're gonna see, you might be very surprised. Maybe we do a whole video on this at some point, different transformational stories from subs, and these I don't want to use the M word, but maybe instead of miraculous, we'll say synchronistic things that start happening after they show up and they give of themselves to their goddess and to their life. Okay? The cost is you investing in yourself. The cost is you investing in your relationship. The cost is you investing in your Dom. And that creates this container, almost like an alchemical container, where change can start to take place. If there's no cost and there's just fleeting words, there's no space to hold the energy of the relationship. It's wisps and it just flies off. There's nothing to hold it. If there's something to hold it, and think about it. If you were to build a container, you would need to invest in materials. You would need to invest in time. You would need to invest in maybe figuring out what kind of container you want to build, how you build it, how you keep it secure, right? And then invest in creating it. There's an investment, there's a cost, yada, yada, yada. You're probably so tired of hearing me say this, but that is what initiates and catalyzes the transformation in yourself and in your DS relationship. And fun little thing to think about, it can catalyze change and transformation in your Dom's life too, because she's receiving energy. And it might be in the form of finances, it might be in the form of acts of service, and these types of support, right? But this extra energy that she receives, she can do anything with. And if she invests that wisely in herself, in her life, she's going to see some transformation there too. So there are layers to the transformation. And your sacrifice, your worthy sacrifice, your not too easy sacrifice, is a key part of that for you, for her, and for your relationship. Because without sacrifice, there is no surrender. And without surrender, there is no becoming. There is a struggle with change, and change is life. And if you're constantly struggling with life, where's the surrender and where's the transformation? Yeah. Your DS relationship is a mirror for you, how you are engaging with life. Use it wisely. Use the opportunity to fine-tune your relationship to life through your DS. Okay? place. Thank you. More on that at some point. We will have to talk about that mirror. We will have to talk about the relationship surrogate piece. It's not now, but I'm logging that for both of us. And hopefully the relationship surrogate idea just being spoken into the space is enough for you to connect some dots. All right? If you have questions about that, leave them in the comments. We'll get to it. So it seems the moral of the story, moral of the story here is that if your devotion costs you nothing, it is worth nothing. If you give nothing, you get nothing in return. Using your words to talk about how devoted you are without the follow through is not like, it's less than nothing. It is more like a clutter and a disturbance than anything. So when you are working to cultivate devotional energy, be mindful. Do not use words that you cannot back up. Okay? Like, and I'm saying this as a Dom who's heard enough, but I'm also saying this for you as a man who is learning to have words that hold value. I've said this before, a man of his word is like increasingly valuable these days. We need more of them. You need to be able to trust yourself when you say something. If you have the habit of giving empty, hollow words, you will not be able to trust yourself. You do not have the air of somebody who can be trusted. And when you go to offer yourself or devote yourself to somebody who is worthy of devotion, they will not want that in their space because their space is valuable. So why would they have a value vacuum in their space? Okay, you need to learn to give meaning to all that you do. You might not start by giving her something of value. You might need to start by giving yourself something of value, by giving yourself the opportunity to put meaning into your life, into your words, into your movements, into your small daily rituals. That can be the cost too. Sometimes being a good man, being a good sub, means you have to spend some time doing X, Y, Z, because it's good for you, because you know you need to, and it might not be fun, but it's worth it, right? So if you give nothing, you get nothing. You need to give to yourself first, then you can give to your Dom. Work on being a high value man so you have something to offer when you are offering your devotion. Because when you offer that devotion and that submissive spirit, you want it to be something that feels so good to receive. Not something that's like, oh yeah, okay, that guy again. Okay, whew. Yes, thank you. And then meanwhile, we're having to like receive the small thing that you're offering while also like negating some of the weird that you're bringing into our space, right? Because at some point, the weird is not worth this thing. We might, no thank you. Actually, no thank you. I'd rather not. So put in the work. Yeah. Be willing to make sacrifices. Be ready to give something of value. And then your devotion is going to have meaning. It's going to have the roots that you want it to have. And then your relationship is going to have meaning in the roots that you want it to have because you are a part of that dynamic. It's you, it's her, it's the relationship. And if you have no roots here, that means neither does the relationship. And so she is having to root all of this for you or not. Yeah. Your gift is in being able to hold that container with her. Yes, maybe in a submissive way, but you still need to hold that. Okay? Because a devotion that costs you nothing leaves you in the same place as when you started. And you were made for more than that. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. I'd love to answer them. I want to help smooth out some of this territory for you. I know sometimes it's confusing and every Dom does it differently. But if you're attracted to me to my videos, to the FemDom revolution. You are here for something deeper. So let's help get you there. Us Doms, we want more from you. We want to help you get there, okay? Like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel and you have your notifications on so you get notified when I post new videos. And then check that description box below. I've got all kinds of good links for you there with, content that you won't find on YouTube. All right, I will see you on the next video. Stay devoted.